Back at it again, folks. Landscape Geek Learning Academy right here at Brooks Landscaping. I'm showing you guys what it looks like when we do our drainage solutions, especially when it comes to the roof drainage, where we're talking about the tremendous amount of water that is coming off of the roof based on how high these houses are built, and then the amount of damage that they're doing to this particular area based on the amount of water that's coming out of these gutter downspouts. And so what we do is we tie them up under the ground with our black corrugated piping, and I wish I would have been able to get that video right before this so you would have been able to see how low we go, but we got a lot more pipe to put in, guys. So I definitely make sure I show you how that pipe goes. But it definitely says as well, when you're on a landscape, no matter whether you're cutting the grass or if you're even looking at a possible job where it may entertain a patio or anything on the landscape, I want you to pay attention to the gutter downspouts, because they're going to be one of the biggest reasons why a lot of homes are seeing what we call landscape drainage. And so when we talk about providing landscape drainage solutions, it's really about being able to identify where the water is coming from on the landscape and then provide the solution that's going to last a lifetime. And that's what this is about. We're providing a solution here with the gutter downspouts, but we're also going to be coming in with some of the best grass your money can buy. That's right, the ZOYSIA sod. It's going to be shade tolerant, drought tolerant, and it's going to protect against a lot of that erosion that takes place just based on how this landscape is positioned. And so one of the things that you want to stay away from is going back with the same turf grass that was previously there, even though it may do well for a year or two. You want to try to provide the customer a service that allows them to be able to have a lifetime what we call experience. And when you talk about an experience with the grass, it says that it's going to be able to last. And so when you talk about a Bermuda grass, that's not going to necessarily do too well on this landscape, just because it doesn't have the nice terrain that it would have needed. It does have a little bit more of a shade area, and you can see that this area didn't allow for, not only did it get erosion on this landscape, but we also got a lot of water that was falling to the path of least resistance as this area slopes. And so even though we would have brought in topsoil and built this area up, and what that tiller is going to do for us right there, that tiller is going to allow for us to get a better grade and allow for us to get a better slopeness on this landscape, but it's really not going to necessarily change the overall trajectory of this landscape, which says that everything falls down. Now, the type of grass that we use can become very important when we want to change the rate in which water is moving on our landscape. And so that's why we're looking at a different grass than that of the Bermuda, and we're going to go with the ZOYSIA sod, and it's going to be extremely well in this condition because it's going to be drought tolerant, shade tolerant. It's also going to be a grass that's going to last. Now, I tell you, there was two options here. You also could have went with the Torro ZOYSIA, which is going to be just as good, but I think even more hardier. This is going to be if you have a lot of pets in the backyard and you don't have a lot of areas where you see yourself having to have a tremendous amount of shade. I'd say that the Xeon can take a little bit more shade than the Torro, but it does say that if you find yourself in that position where you don't have a tremendous amount of shade, then the Torro is going to be a great option as well. But that tiller, the tiller is what makes this a lot easier for us, because as we begin to take up this ground, it's going to allow for us to level ourselves out. And I'll take you through that process as we get there, but wanted to make sure that you understood that one of the ways that you're going to help your clients, no matter if you're in lawn care, no matter if you're a landscape professional in regards to hardscapes, it says that you want to make sure that you're focusing on this niche service that I've now crafted into my business model over the last 7 years, and it's worked beautifully. And it talks about landscape drainage solutions, and these landscape drainage solutions are amazing because not only do they give the relief on the landscape from them having to ever worry about problems, but it also solves a major issue on the landscape. And so as you can see, this what would be a 30 to 40 foot gutter on both of these particular sides of the house was dumping water onto this landscape, and what was happening is that it was just deteriorating all of this area that you see moss